Michael, welcome to Latest News. Now, we're here to discuss a campaign that you've been leading on that has been putting a lot of pressure on Brighton Hove City Council in recent times. But before we get to that, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay, well, I'm an ex-airline pilot and I live in Patcham in the village in question, about 200 feet from where the entrance is of the Royal Mail proposed site. I still train people to become flying instructors, so I fly in Shoreham, and I'm writing some books as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. And you've also been very busy leading on a local campaign in recent months. So let's start from the beginning. So from what I understand, you received a leaflet at the beginning of this year with regards to planned proposals for Royal Mail and Brighton Hove City Council to work on planning that would mean that the Royal Mail sorting office, which is currently located in the North Lanes in Hove, would be relocated to the village of Patcham.
Yes, that's correct. So the leaflet came through the door, and that was local councillors delivered that. But when I spoke to them, the council had been working on this for since 2018, and I found out recently the employees knew about it 18 months ago. And it was only a question in council late last year which managed to pull this out in the open so the councillors could produce leaflets. When I saw that, I spoke to the councillors and then started trying to get people together to act to stop it, really, because this is just at the top of Church Hill, which is, it's a protected area. With Grade 2 listed properties.
Sure, and your campaign, from what I understand, was very well received. Within 48 hours, you had 300 signatures.
Yeah, well, what happened was, by accident, I met some other people who are campaigning individually, and we've got a really good team of people. Beck does websites, so we've got a website up, and the Facebook group, which has helped. She's been fantastic. She's also a very, very doggedly determined lady, so she's been very pursuing of people to get answers. Richard Carr, is a property developer, but he and I have paid for all the leaflets, and his mother and another lady, Catherine, they've done between them about 4,000 leaflets. So we've between us, our various skills. I'm very shy and retiring, so I don't like going on media. So that's where I've finished up.
Well, you're doing
that's supposed to be funny, by the way.
A good job so far. And I mean, even since those times, you've managed to double the signatures on the campaign.
Today, because you have to formally apply for an objection, and it's very, very difficult. The website, I know at least 300 people who have not been able to lodge it, and I've asked them to do handwritten letters, and I'll bring them to the council. It's very, very poor. But before I left home today, there was 650 objections, which is quite good, I think, in the circumstances.
It's very fascinating.
In 2 weeks.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And this campaign, I mean, so from what I understand, one of the issues, Patcham being a village, very small residential area, but also from what I understand, your campaign also highlights other issues such as environmental factors that arguably may not have been considered in the planning process. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I don't think many people realise that the water that comes out of your tap down in here in Brighton originates, and it's potable water, so it comes straight from there with a small amount of filtering, but it comes direct to your tap here. Sure. So underneath Patcham Court Farm is basically the aquifers. And the aquifers are where the water comes off the downs in the chalk. The aquifer is where it runs in an underground river, but it's not. It's moving through the chalk, so it's not an actual river. Sure. So the Victorians in mid-1800s built these underground tunnels which would catch that water, and it went to a central point which was originally 2 steam engine pumps, which then pumped the water down into Brighton. Right. Those underground tunnels are the same now, but we use electric pumps.
Right.
When they wanted to put the park and ride on there in 2005, Dr. James Rhodes, who was the engineer, he's a visiting professor from Sussex University, very, very clever man. He looked at all of the structures underground there and the type of structures and how the water worked. And part of that was to put I think they put a gallon of traceable material, a marker, into the ground in Patcham Court Farm, and 24 hours later it appeared in the taps down here in Brighton.
Wow.
That gives you some idea of the problems. Now, if you put diesel into that, or petrol, or sewage, you're going to contaminate the whole of this water, the water supply for the city. It will be a very, very bad situation. There was an outbreak of cholera here in the early 1800s caused by the mixing of the two. I'm not saying that will happen now, but it gives you some idea of how significant that water supply is. Sure. And I don't think the councillors necessarily realise how significant that was, because all of the investigations were in 2005. So I have a feeling they're not just not aware of the significance of it.
Sure, and has there been any correspondence since you've obviously highlighted to Brighton Hove City Council, the Green Party, of these environmental issues?
Not enough,
right.
If I can put it that way. The zone there is a special protection zone 1, which is the highest level of protection for this very reason. We have pointed that out, but we haven't been so far getting a lot of response. It's been very, very quiet. Caroline Lucas has been very helpful. I've had a meeting with her and a lot of correspondence. But obviously, as an MP, she puts forward our views. But the councillors, apart from our 2 local councillors, which are in a minority, we haven't had enough response yet.
Right. And what are the next steps now? So from what I understand, there may be another meeting, a second meeting to discuss this and put pressure on the council to review their current plans.
You mean from us?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we had a public meeting on Sunday, which was really to update local people about what's happening. But the information that we're gathering at the moment will be presented to Royal Mail and to the council, the planning officer and the council leader. Because that will help them understand the significance. It's not just the aquifers and the water supply. There is also some other problems with the way the underground structure in chalk works. It can go into powder and collapse if it dries out, and if you cover it, that is a problem.
Which could make sinkholes and various other issues.
There are already sinkholes and fissures up there 600 feet deep.
Right.
But the other problem you have is if you build something on there and you allow the rain not to drain into the chalk, they've realised that, and they said we're going to put I think it's 1,000 cubic metre tank somewhere up there to collect the rainwater to let it out later. So if you get 5 days of continuous rain, obviously normally it goes into the ground and the ground absorbs it. But if it's collected up there because it's all concrete and tarmac, they've got to do something with it. If the rain goes on more than 6 days, it will overwhelm those tanks, and that water will come down Church Hill, which used to be called Spring Hill, by the way. Spring Road, yeah, because the water used to come out of the ground.
Sure.
And it will flood Old London Road, and it did that in year 2000, so I did send you some photographs of that.
You did,
and
yes,
I believe that's a strong possibility that will happen again.
All very scary stuff that the Green Party, I'm sure, would want to avoid being an environmentally friendly political party. Okay, and also, I mean, something else, I mean, the residents of Patcham must really appreciate all the hard work and support that yourself and your team have put into it, because it's not just environmental issues that you've highlighted, you've also highlighted some basic legal issues with the planning application. Yes. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the land itself is allocated under the local plan for office use only. It's specifically not for storage and distribution. So they've allocated they're trying to allocate the land for something which it shouldn't be used for, which I find rather strange. The other thing is, when you think about it, at the moment the mail comes in by train and it's sorted in central Brighton and goes out from central Brighton and Hove. Same with Hove, it comes in by train. But up there we don't have a railway station.
Sure.
So it has to come in on big articulated lorries in the middle of the night. So they have to feed it that way. There'll be 350 delivery vehicles coming into a residential road, and there's over 260 people per shift. Parking's already limited up there. They've allocated 85 on the site. The balance has got to come on a bicycle at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning on a November night morning. So they've got 8 bicycle spaces. But what I'm thinking is that a lot of people come by road, they'll drive up there, which isn't very green, and they're going to park in all of the areas they can in the local area.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a problem which, if anybody's been up there on that intersection where they're going to try to get in and out of, it builds up traffic, it gridlocks really, really quickly. And imagine a day when the football's on, for instance, and they're trying to do deliveries.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're going to use the rest of our roads as rat runs, and I'll give you some other photographs later to show you the types of problems up there.
Sure.
They did their traffic survey in, it was November 19, which I think, sorry, 20, November 20. And if you remember, we were in partial lockdown. So
Yeah.
we've said to them, we haven't had an answer, look, you know, that was an artificially low level of traffic. You need to do a proper traffic survey. So there's that side of it is something which is going to cause the local people a lot of inconvenience.
Sure. So initially, these plans were going to be voted on and potentially agreed within committee, but that was paused due to the
Yes.
conversation that took place in committee.
Yeah, that was to do with the lease.
Right.
They were going to allocate a 75-year lease to Royal Mail, but because we put a little bit of information towards some councillors, they withdrew their support pending more information. So that part of it got
positive.
dropped, yes. We
Excellent.
were very pleased about that.
And what are the next steps now? Is it meant to be brought back to committee?
In October.
Right,
It's supposed to come
okay.
back in October. I'm providing some information, detailed information to Royal Mail on a number of different subjects, specifically to do with the use of the land and how the land will work. These are things that haven't been answered yet, and I'm going to put that to them and we'll see what happens.
Well, I wish you all the best with your campaign, and I'm sure that there are other people locally that would be interested to voice their opinions or concerns on the matter. For anyone that would like to find out more information about your campaign, Michael, where can we find out more details?
If you can go to patchamagainstRoyalMail.co.uk, and there's information on there as how to put in objections. So because it's quite difficult, quite a difficult procedure, there is information there. So if they go there, they'll be given an update, and also the Facebook group.
Perfect.
So that works.
And we'll also promote that information on our website and social media too.
Just a small question about biodiversity. The interesting thing there are protected species on that land, like slow worms. There's bats, there's adders, and some other. This has been completely ignored. There's been no attention to that whatsoever, which I find really surprising. What I've suggested to Caroline Lucas is we turn it into a city farm and have a farm shop up there, which would be very light use. And when I suggested this in the public meeting, they all applauded. They loved the idea. So fingers crossed we can get that to happen instead of a big sorting office.
Well, you've definitely highlighted that you're a very good campaigner and you've got some great initiatives. So hopefully Caroline Lucas will be more than happy to work with you going forward.
She's been very helpful, actually, very helpful indeed.
Good, good. No, that's really good to hear, and I hope that collectively you can move forward and get the results that the local community would like.
I'm very confident.
Perfect. Well, I think the campaign's in very good hands, Michael, so thank you very much for your time today, and please do keep us updated on your campaign
Will do.
work.
Thanks for having me here.
Thank you.
Thanks for helping us.
Thank you. Cut, and that's it.
How long was that?